What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host Josh, and we are here for the match preview of the upcoming game this weekend between Borussia Mönchengladbach and Borussia Dortmund. It is the match of the weekend in the Bundesliga, so if you guys are excited for it, be sure to drop a like. Let's get 100 likes. Why not? Set a little target for you guys. Drop a sub if you are new to the channel as well, and let's get into the video now. Alright guys, like we always do on our match previews, we are going to take a look at the recent history, the last 5 matches these two have done against each other, and Dortmund have really had Gladbach in their back pocket. They honestly have. They've won 4 and they've lost 1. Really good record. Last year, they won the first game of the season against them 3-0. They lost later in the season, which was a really poor game, 4-2. And then they won the quarterfinal match in the Pokal 1-0 as well away from home. So still decently last year, winning 2 out of 3 matches against them. And honestly, our record against Gladbach's kind of showing of how it is this season. It's right now in our first 5 games of the season, we've won 4 and we've lost 1, where we're sitting at the top of the table. Well, right around the top of the table, where Gladbach is kind of sitting towards the bottom of the table. In their opening 5, they have 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 losses. Not near where they wanted to be at this stage in the season, which is sort of frustrating for them. So if history and form shows that this should be a nice game for Dortmund, but as we know, nothing is obviously guaranteed, especially with the leaky defense that Dortmund has had the entirety of this season. So let's move on over to the starting 11 and how I predict Borussia Dortmund lining up. And I have them lining up in a 4-3-3. Now, like I said, it's going to be a bit of an unorthodox with the top 3 of how they actually roll around, but I do think Marco Rose has found something that may work for them a little bit, especially potentially going up against a back 3 with wingbacks in this Gladbach team. So the way I see us lining up is in goal, we're going to have Gregor Kobel. Right back, Thomas Müller, who has been on fantastic form. The man cannot stop assisting goals, and we're hoping he's going to keep that form up going into this match. 2 center backs, we got a Kanji Hummels and the left back Guerrero, who came off of a stellar performance with that beautiful goal against Union Berlin. The back 4 pretty much, writes itself. Going into the midfield, I'm going to go at the 6. I'm going to put Axel Witsel. Our 2 aces is going to be Bellingham and De Hood. And then the front 3 is kind of where it gets interesting, as we know sometimes it looks like maybe Royce drifts towards the middle, but I do have Royce lining up as the right winger with Daniel Malen as the left winger, and then our striker Erling Haaland. So the exact same lineup that went against Union Berlin. And why break what's not broke? I mean, I just think that this is an opportunity for them to kind of pick up on something. I like that Daniel Malen is touching that left-hand side and going to hopefully have an opportunity to put a goal. It's his time. It's got to be coming sooner rather than later. So that's kind of where I have him lined up for the day. Let me know if you guys agree with that starting 11, because I know it could go in a couple different ways. But moving on over now against my key matchups, I like always doing that fun little story. I mean, I got to talk about Matthias Ginter, because it's being the ex-Dortmund player going over to Gladbach and really finding form. I'm going to line him up with Erling Haaland, and it seems like a very obvious matchup. The heart of the Gladbach defense and probably the middle of that back 3 if they do indeed line up in that 3-4-2-1 formation that it looks like they're going to go with. And Erling Haaland's the main man, and he's shown it. Dortmund have somehow got the start of the season that they did with that leaky defense, because this man has found the net. 7 goals already. He's on stellar form, a goal a game. And in a game like this, being away from home, there's no one else we're going to have to look for. He's a man who's proven that he can put the ball in the back of the net. And if there's one man on the Gladbach side that's going to have to try to put a stop to it, it's going to be Ginter. So that's an obvious matchup for me. Hopefully, obviously, Haaland can get the better of him to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net, which he continually did, which he would never put it against him. So that matchup will be interesting. And the other one I have lined up for today is going to be Lars Stindl, the captain, the skipper, the leader of this Gladbach side, lined up against Axel Witsel, another leader for the Dortmund side. The reason I had these 2 lined up is because Stindl will probably have a central role, especially if they do those kind of 2 floating cams, which we like to do when we play in the Christmas tree formation. And he's going to have a battle in the middle of the park against Axel Witsel, and Witsel, I think, has not really put too much of a poor foot in so far. I know that there's been some critics around his speed and movement, but again, I think that footballing IQ just brings a calming presence. So he may get tested with another player who, in my opinion, has got really high footballing IQ in Stindl, and having those 2 line up against each other will be interesting, because if Witzel's going to do his job and defend well, it's going to be stopping some of those creative movements and so creative passes that are going to come through Lars Stindl for any Gladbach attack. So those 2 are another little key matchup I had lined up there for today as well for the upcoming match. So let me know what you guys think on those two matchups. If there's some other players that I didn't touch on. I know Joe Scally from a U.S. men's national team fans may want to throw him in there and line him up maybe against Guerrero. That may be an interesting one depending on what side Scally does line up against. But feel free to put in the comments which key matchup you guys want to see and excited to see for the upcoming game. But now we're going to move on over to prediction time. It's always an interesting one. I have done well in my predictions this year, but it's not always my favorite thing because, you know, don't want to jinx it. But I am going to put a prediction, and just looking at recent form, recent history, it's not looking good for Gladbach. I do think they're going to be tough. They are home. It seems like this is an opportunity for them to really go at their ex-manager. That's obviously another storyline in there. Marco Rose returning after the questionable departure. They were not obviously happy about it. He finished off the season knowing that he was going to go to Dortmund. So there's a whole bunch of storylines that are going under Marco Rose, but that is an interesting one. Gladbach will be fired up to come back, but I still think this is going to be a gritty affair. I'm going to say 2-1. 2-1. I don't know if that clean sheet's quite ready to happen yet for Dortmund, but I do see us getting on the scoreboard regardless. So I'm going to say 2-1 away win for Borussia Dortmund. So be sure to let me know as well if you guys agree with my my score prediction, if you guys some for your own. Do you think we're able to pull off a big victory? How do you see the key matchups? Do you agree with my lineup? I want to hear it all. Be sure to put it in the comments down below. And hopefully we'll be able to pull it off. We got the watch along coming up, so hopefully we'll see a lot of you guys there. So hey, Bay, let's see if we can keep this train rolling. We've won 4 in a row. Hopefully we'll make it 5 and show that we are ideally contenders. And it would be nice to sneak in a clean sheet. But regardless, I'm going for a win for BBB anyway. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys are new. And hopefully see you guys next time. Cheers, friends.